For the first time ever, from the Golden...
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ulti.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
July from Nottingham, England. The World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ultiworld.com.
For the first time ever, from the golden sandy blankets of Portimao, Portugal, BULA and ulti.TV bring you the World Beach Ultimate Club Championship 2024. The best club teams in the world will converge on the Portuguese Algarve. With expectations for upwards of 150 teams, this promises to be a tournament worth bucket listing. Whether on the sands or watching the action from your screen, WBUCC 2024 is a tournament not to be missed.
Welcome back for the final time to the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships here on the glorious golden sands of Royan on the French Atlantic coast. And we have one more game. It is the mixed final with UFA from Portugal up against Margarita mixed of Ireland. It's Benji Reese and Hannah Pendlebury for you on this game in the commentary booth, and it's literally a booth this time, which is nice.
Oh yeah, Benji, we are feeling hot, hot, hot as the song goes. And I'll tell you what, it's a scorcher out here this afternoon in Royan. We had some inclement conditions on Friday in the morning, but the sun, I tell you what, it has dried out completely. Standing around on the pitches here in Royan, it's so hot. My poor British feet can't cope.
Yeah, I have firmly stayed planted in the shade all weekend, and I mean, glorious weather, glorious setting, glorious ultimate. Really, what more could you ask for?
Really, Benji, I'm at a loss. I couldn't want to be anywhere other than here right now in Royan and ready for what's hopefully going to be a tussle of a mixed final. We won't spoil the results, but let's just say things have been a little bit lopsided so far for the gold medals.
Yeah, not necessarily been the classics we've seen at EBUCC's past, but that's because they were just the warm-up for the main event of the mixed final.
And we did reshuffle it, so this would be the big show. Everybody stopped playing. There's no other matches to watch than this one, and we've got lots of French fans. They're not filled up the bleachers on the far side of the pitch, but on our side, the best side of the pitch, obviously.
True. Alongside
you guys watching on this live stream. We have actually loads of French random people who've just sort of found out this tournament's happening, some tourists that are visiting Royan. It's fantastic.
Right, there have been adverts around the town, kind of inviting people to come down and witness proceedings, and a fair few have taken them up on the offer.
Well, absolutely. They should, and they have. And it was a little party that was happening last night on this stadium pitch, apparently for Margarita Mixed. Their preparation was to try and do the Heroes double, winning the party and then winning the tournament if they can best UFA from Portugal, who I think probably took this tournament a touch more seriously. The Margarita Mixed roster, of course, full of extremely dynamic athletes, but some might call it a pickup team. I'm going to call it Irish Ferdy Roger and a bunch of cool friends.
I mean, some of those friends are Irish, but certainly it's a pretty stacked lineup for you.
Indeed, and see actually they're just receiving that pass in the warm-up drill. Brina Healy, who was leading the charge, a solid Irish woman.
And you might be able to just about pick that up in the background, but we're going to throw over to Stef Pazzo, who is just ready with the two captains, Pedro Vargas of UFA and Ferdia Rogers, as aforementioned, for Margarita Mixed. Stefan, we're just about ready to go, getting sure that all the mic is warmed up, hot enough. Steph, over to you.
Take it away, Ferdia and Pedro. Go on and sort yourselves out. Odds called. And they're going to start on D. Interesting call. And Margarita Mixed to start down there. Same called and one. Female matching start for the game. I'll have a quick chat with Pedro before we send him out and keep Ferdia on deck. Pedro, you guys made it to the finals, had a great run so far. How's the team feeling before the game here?
I mean, we're all feeling great. This is the first time a Portuguese team has reached the final of Continental World Championship. So, I mean, what else can we ask?
Yeah. You guys are excited, ready to go?
Yeah. Wow. We just want to enjoy, have fun, and we hope it's a great final.
Wonderful, thank you, and best of luck. We wish you the best. Ferdia, how you doing over here?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you very much. You guys down to 9. It started with 10 or 11?
11 we started with.
11 down to 9 today. What are the thoughts on the team with a 9-player roster? How you guys feeling?
We're feeling good. We're feeling confident. I mean, we've got talent all the way from top to bottom of this team. You can see that in the stats. It's so well spread. And this weekend has just been amazing. Amazing trip with an amazing group of people. So feeling good.
Good luck to you and all your Irish compatriots over there. But yeah, very good looking roster. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Steph there getting the down low on the game. So you may have heard that it is going to be Margarita Mixed, sorry, complete brain fade there, receiving in the right-hand end zone, beginning with 3 female matching players. Hannah, you have some thoughts on the choices from the flip.
I absolutely do, Benji. Well, I too got a little bit of inside lowdown ahead of this game. Chatted to both teams. Margarita Mixed came out and warmed up nice and early, then hid in the shade, and the flip reverse of their opponents. But UFA's focus in this game is going to be playing clean defense. They are backing themselves to get blocks, but in this game they really want to be tidier, be more conservative with their shots, and execute on defense. They haven't been as patient with the disc when they've had opportunities in their earlier games, of which there have been many tight ones, much tighter scorelines than they would have liked. On the other side, the choice made by Margarita Mixed to go for the 3 female matching athletes coming out to start off the proceedings is they are going to rely on their female matchups as they've done the entire tournament. There's one male stats leader at the top of Margarita Mixed line, which of course is Pavel Pelikan, but apart from that it's a lot of female talent. Brina Healy, Sarah Melvin amongst them that are really scooping up so many.
Yeah, they are down to just 3 healthy gentlemen. Margarita Mixed with 4, excuse me, I can't count, with of course the injury to Sam Murphy, who broke his collarbone earlier in the weekend, which is going to be a painful one. On the female matching side, Mary Kate Anderson also inactive for this game, and they've got, you know, some handy players. The Irish pair, Healy and Melvin. A bit of international flavour with Castillo and Lagala, and some player called Levka Volchak. I don't know much about them. They've not filled in a player survey, but I hear they might be all right.
Yeah, they might be okay. I mean, there's a reason they're probably on the Margarita mixed squad, and they certainly had a fantastic night's sleep, shunning any formal accommodation, and I believe Mystery Volchak setting up a hammock on the side of one of the pitches as their resting place for the evening. So sneaking through, of course, we are delighted to see Livka Volchak choosing to return gloriously to the beach after having some double shoulder surgery, just to sort everything out, make sure she's in working order for the rest of her career. I am so excited, though, to see Carmen Lagala of Tequila Boom Boom Fame. Well, fame and flame, because she, when at her best, certainly does light the pitch on fire, I think. Absolutely. Playing for BFD Shout on grass this year, but last season she was part of that Tequila Boom Boom squad that excited us so much in the women's division. Well, part of a couple of Rimini players alongside Sebastian Rossi, the now La Fota standout, but he's been a player that I've thoroughly enjoyed coming through the youth systems, originally from Rimini and playing with Costa Rica, but now playing his ultimate in and with Bologna for La Fota. And to talk a bit and throw some love as well on the UFA, the 100%, the Ultimate Frisbee Algarve team based largely in Portimao. And as a result of being in that glorious nation on that beautiful coastline, they do have some international flavour that comes over and sort of, actually participates in the local Portuguese league. But we have some family action. We have the two Bringel sisters, of course, now Philippa, the number 8 with Vargas, as obviously her partner here is Pedro, the number 13, who is such a pivotal part of the Beach Ultimate Lovers Association leadership, leader, maybe president of the future, perhaps. Who knows? And Rui Ferreira and Roy... hold on, what am I on about? Rui Ferreira and Kendall Ferreira. Going to get this out there nice and early. Yeah, absolutely. Get my mouth around these excellent surnames. Kendall mentioned that she has a 1.5-year-old son with Rui, who is also on the team. I assume that she means that Rui's on the team, not the 1.5-year-old, because I haven't seen them out there. Yeah. But funny thing, strange things have happened. So hello to Lucas at home. Indeed. I think it's the rule of, in order to appear on the ultimate pitch, you have to be sufficiently bigger than the disc. Yeah, that might potentially be a good idea. Interesting as well to see two German World Games teammates potentially matching up against each other. Nikki Priyan for UFA and, of course, Levka Volchak for Margarita Mix. I mean, it is a star-studded encounter wherever you look. I, for one, am very excited for Margarita Mix. I think they kind of downplayed their expectations going into the weekend, not necessarily had that much time together and short-handed, but they've played really well to get here. And for UFA, as Pedro Vargas mentioned in the interview before the game, first time there's a Portuguese side in a major final. So, there's a lot to play for them. Well, certainly for European or a world stage, this is their debut maiden voyage, but they are no strangers to championship finals. Well, I say championship. Tournament finals, shall we say. They are obviously present on the beach scene, tournaments like CFC over in Lanzarote. Such beautiful places that this sport takes us to, Benji. If only we could avoid too much of this gritty sand that gets towards our electronics. Yeah, it's there's been a fine dust that's been sprayed at various points over all of our electronics. So that is slightly unappreciated, but it's all worth it when you get to come to beautiful, picturesque places like Royan. Indeed, it's one of those sports beach ultimate that I think if you ever get yourself in sort of a bit of a weird, quirky headspace, frustrated, upset, whatever the bad juju may be that you're feeling, just looking around you, observing the ocean, the sand, the sun, you can't help but wish you'd be nowhere else. So getting this game underway, Benji, I am so excited, it's happening! So here we go, Melvin to teammate Healy, and the brilliant layout block from Pedro Vargas. One captain layout D's the other, early advantage to UFA. Oh, well, we have to now see if it's going to work out exactly as they planned it. Can they keep hold of the disc and execute on defense? It's a big shot.
going downfield. The brilliant layout with the left-handed snag from Kat Ritzman. Continuation into the end zone. Can he tow it in on the back line? I think he can, you know. That is a break at a bookends to begin the game for Pedro Vargas and UFA.
Oh, Benji. Well, I don't think that was necessarily quite as whistle clean as UFA will need to be to close this one and take it fully away from a very talented Irish squad. But that is a delicious start to get. Look at that snag, left hand trailing catch on the flop. Kat Ritzman, oh, what a catch.
Yeah, Ritzman's represented at the highest level out in the States and getting a chance to strut her stuff on the European scene now.
Indeed, and a coach of the under-20 mixed team up in Washington, D.C. So hello to all her family friends and all the juniors that she coaches. Love so much to see these talented athletes giving back and being true community players.
So an early break for UFA. That would not have been in Margarita mixed plans. A team who have scarcely, if ever, been behind this tournament. Here's La Gala. High into the center for the Mexican Castillo. Pelican. Looking for an option. The underneath, ooh, bobbled. But La Gala does really well to adjust, and Rogers gets a face full of sand as he goes to the floor. Underneath for Castillo. Castillo, oh, that inside shot has to go, and is bang on the money to Carmen La Gala to make it one apiece.
Well, that's a good steady of the ship for Margarita mix. Really delightful scenes to watch Bringel up against Maria Castillo. The fantastic pivoting around, really moving Ines around, finally opening up that channel, and that is what gave the open space. Recatch from La Gala, we love to see it, and of course, Ferdy Rogers being the lefty, useful, dynamic handler he always is.
I'm always excited to get to see Maria Castillo play. Mexican, but lives in Belgium, plays Club Ultimate with Yaka, and I think she'll be representing Belgium in the women's division out at EBUCC in her new home nation of Ireland, maybe? No. Out in Limerick in July.
She'll be playing for the Belgian women's team, and every single player on Margarita Mix will be representing their home nations at the European Championships in Limerick, as you say, Benji. So they have asked ahead of this game that hopefully this one isn't too physical for a game of Beach Ultimate.
Yeah, especially because they've already, A, they're short-handed, and B, they've already seen Sam Murphy have a heartbreaking injury, so the last thing they need is a little bit more. Priyan with the underneath cut, the first time the O-line taking the field for UFA. Here's the veteran Vargas on a high stall, putting a little bit of air underneath it. Brina Healy tips in, and Priyan was nearly there to collect the spillage, and a bit of a hand-on-heart moment there from Brina Healy. She thought she might not have done enough, but a chance to earn the early break back. Rory Keogh will stride to the disc and pick up and bring to the front of the end zone, being marked by Andrew Roy.
Yeah, I'm sure Rory Keogh probably doesn't want to be playing on that ankle with the brace on. He is a touch under his usual prowess, but playing in the backfield well, receiving from Melvin.
Keogh puts a bit of air underneath it. He's looking for Sebastian Rossi, but there's only one winner there, even though Rossi did get a hand to it, and it was the sideline. I'll be honest, for someone who has, quote-unquote, the best backhand huck in Ireland, probably not his finest moment. It's the humility about him that I like. Here's Vargas, swinging to his other half, both in the backfield and off the pitch as well. Philippa. Vargas again to Roy. Oh, he's going to put the up line up, you know, and it's a good job he did, because it was a thing of beauty. I thought the window had closed, but Roy saw things differently, and he finds Vargas, who has his and UFA's second score.
Well, I feel like I need to be in a gospel choir, because someone around me might have a giant fan with which to cool myself down. That was a beautiful throw out of Andrew Roy, as you say, Benji. Lesser athletes might not have seen the window there, but it was slinky, silky, smooth, perfect weighting. And of course, Roy knowing exactly what Pedro Vargas is capable of doing anyway.
So UFA able to earn the disc back from that errant Keogh hug.
Indeed. And to give you all the information that you're asking for, Felix Nemec, I see you in the comments asking what happened to Smurf. Unfortunately, Sam Murphy did have a layout bid where his matchup ended up landing on top of him, and his collarbone had a little moment of saying, no more, thank you.
Yeah, was not a huge fan of that. So that is Smurf out for the foreseeable, I'm afraid. But hey, if he's looking for something to do in Limerick, I'm sure we'll happily have him back on ulti.TV. I thought he's been killing it on comms in his guest appearances.
Oh,
Here's
yes.
Volchak, another one of ulti.TV's guest voices this weekend. Underneath to Castillo, wanting to spread the play instead, going back to Volchak. Rogers powers up line. Castillo in the backfield, turns. There's no one there. Doesn't mean she can't rip the backhand to Pelican, and he'll be disappointed that he couldn't handle it.
That had a lot of spice layered on it and the clap of doom, but an immediate turn.
Well, that is a bit of a freebie back. And Lagala, oh, it just popped up at precisely the wrong moment for Castillo.
Oh no, that is plain unfortunate. That shouldn't have popped up with the wind direction that's currently happening. Perhaps a little touch of air bounce on the release from Lagala, but the wind is supposed to be more or less a crossfield, near to far as our cameras have it, but that suddenly had a little swaz from right to left, making that disc pop up.
Here's Brinjel, one-time Eurostar, trying to thread that one down the line. Is that towed inbounds? I think it is indeed by Thiago Augusto, although there might be a bit of a discussion about this.
Well, it's a two-time Eurostar for Ines Brinjel.
I stand corrected.
So good they had to put her on the roster twice.
I meant one time in the sense that the Eurostars tour doesn't happen anymore, but I'm happy to be.
It might come back. You never know.
I mean, I would love to see it if it did. Volchak and Lagala playing in the backfield. Off to Rogers with that classy backhand to Lagala, and eventually Margarita Mix make it stick for 2 apiece.
Well, you can really see from Lagala the speed that she has on sand. This is such a familiar surface for her, of course, hailing from Rimini, that Tequila Boom Boom side. But that was all about her putting the game on her back a little bit. Somewhat of a gimme on the turnovers there from UFA. They'll have to clean it up if they're going to maintain their nudge in front. But curious, Benji, if this one just trades out, that choice on defense, if we see a break from Margarita Mix, are they going to regret that?
It's always bold choosing defense to start in I think, especially when you get in finals and the margins are often so tight. I'd hate to lose a game on the flip, but especially if it's for a gold medal. Priyan creates separation underneath, being marked by Healy. Reset into the backfield for Roy. Pump fakes the flick, back to Priyan. Now Roy's going to take off up line, and he's going to get it as well. Might think about airing this one out over the top. No, does the wise thing, takes the free swing to Kendall Ferreira. Now Edmonds pops it into Priyan, who continues her strong goal-scoring weekend. Her 19th goal of the tournament makes it 3-2 to UFA.
Nikki Priyan, as we've already mentioned, another one of the Euro starlets going out and playing in the US. I believe the first season that program ran.
Sounds about right.
And obviously coming off the back as well of a fantastic World Games campaign last year. She was nigh on unstoppable in certain parts of the pitch, it felt like, in their games against those top sides.
I know that Nikki's had her struggles with illness in the past, but when she's, in full flow and at top form, it's a sight to behold.
Indeed, that was I believe the 2019 season that she sort of, had to rest and just recover her body, which obviously, sometimes athletes do have to do. I really don't like the tendency of ultimate athletes to play through injuries, but, I do respect the hunger.
Lagala taking the underneath option of Rossi. Rossi with the instant rip, looking for Pelican, although if he wasn't there, I'm pretty sure Castillo had the speed across the sand to chase it down anyway, and it's 3 apiece.
Yeah, the Foy man who picked up some experience with a certain Italian Open team back in the day that may have beaten a Clapham team in a really important final.
You think that maybe Pelican and Rossi have got a little bit of chemistry together as well?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, Ferdia Rogers is the individual responsible for gathering this all-star studded roster to the sand, first in Ireland to qualify out and now here in Royan. Of course, you are allowed 3 new people to your roster versus your sort of official federation collection at the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships, which creates some interesting dynamics, Benji.
Yeah, it's always the key of how do you integrate those players in? Do you want to give them the starring roles that perhaps their name usually delivers, or is it about trying to fit those pieces into what you've got? I guess when you only at 11 players when you start and you're down to 9, it's a case of just all hands on deck and put them wherever you can.
Indeed. Well, at the moment, and we know for Margarita Mix, it's all about trying to get those matchup right on the real key players for UFA. Currently, nobody anywhere near Kendall Ferreira.
Yeah, Volchak's scoring the pick, but I don't think she's anywhere near close enough to call that.
Nope.
And I think that's probably been the discussion there. So Ferreira will check the disc in herself. First pass to Priyan. Priyan has a shuttling receiver in the backfield. Vargas macked it back to Priyan! God, I love this game.
Nikki Priyan making me feel my feelings. That was insane.
Edmonds with the high release backhand to Priyan. Priyan looking at the end zone. Can he roll it around? Oh, Edmonds just about gets it at the back of the end zone beyond Rory Keogh for 4-3. I mean, yeah, that's just how they drew it up, right? Must have been in the playbook.
Oh, Benji, I can't stand up because the little tilt of the hut here means I can't see half the field because I'm too tall. But I've moved to the edge of my physical seat. I've moved to the edge of my seat. I'm really excited by this game. Heads up and a half, Nikki Priyan. What a hero.
That's all that Mac line practice. Pelican got a big hand on it, and Vargas kind of instinctively slapped it back, and Priyan laid out for the catch. It's just ridiculous. And then on the other end, Priyan throwing the goal to Thomas Edmonds for the 1-point lead again. After the break on the game's first point, we've just traded since then. Pelican off the ball, didn't want the first pass to Rossi, eventually gets it. Now to Castillo, they want a little bit of throw and go motion. Now Lagala. Lagala rips it to Rossi. And Rossi, oh, I thought he'd given himself too much to do. Shame on me for underestimating Seb Rossi.
Well, maybe someone who's not as good as jumping on the beach might have been undone by that one, but this is a great use of the surface and a slice through.
Punches it into Lagala for the score. I mean, you come from Rimini, you get pretty adept with playing on the sand. You know, they've had some beach heritage there, of course, hosting the world-famous Paganello tournament, which is actually how Rossi started, by watching it and thinking, maybe I should get involved in this.
Yeah, I could do that. That looks easy, for sure.
I mean, if you're him, it might be, to be fair.
Oh, well, I think that is what we get from these elite finals. It is athletes out there under the beating sun, making this look pretty easy, although these two teams taking each other to task and nigh on pushing to the edges of their very capabilities. But that was just hanging himself up on a stick from Rossi.
Oh, this game has been so much fun already, and we're not even a third of the way through time-wise.
You mean this game has to end? Surely not.
It's cruel, isn't it? I mean, it does, because I know that eventually Margarita Mix have got flights home. I think some of them have to depart straight after the final. Edmonds putting some air underneath it again. Priyan is the target. Melvin's trying to churn across the sand, but it gets the wrong edge and it tails out of bounds.
Another Eurostar and Eurostar matchup. Sarah Melvin, of course, another, I believe, double choice for that roster.
So Rogers will get another chance to see if he can bring this game back on serve.
But yeah, the closing speed of Sarah Melvin. Of course, many of the Irish women moving across to the mixed division to try and get 2 European golds.
Volchak finds Healy underneath. Now Keogh's going to charge downfield. Stops. Will he get the under? No, it's the blade over the top. Volchak had the read on that right from the off. Doesn't think about forcing it in, though. Going back instead. Kyo on the floor. Flops the hammer over the top. Into the end zone to Rogers for the score. The captain catches the break to put Margarita back on top, 5-4. I say back on top. It's their first seed of the game.
Back where they ought to be, having started on offense. I think that's the way we put it out, right?
That's what I was getting at, correct.
It's all right, I got you, bro.
I must admit, when Healy put the blade up, I thought it was an interesting choice, but I mean, I'd be tempted to throw whatever I could at a receiver like Volchak, and then rather than get the force in, play it around, and it's a little bit fluttery, the hammer from Kyo, but its line was true enough, and Rogers was on the same page to give Margarita Mixed a 1-point lead.
Well, by sort of choosing not to take too many athletes to this particular championship, of course, the minimum roster size is 10, maximum is 20, so plenty of teams choosing between the lot. That's what happens when you have so many reps together over the course of your games. Yes, you might be more tired, but you know what each other are capable of.
Yeah, you get all that chemistry together, getting a lot of picks time, so you're constantly staying active and involved. Vargas goes off to Edmonds and then swings across to Roy. With your lower round break, too much for Vargas, and Pelican doesn't want to let them get any chance to get themselves together. Rossi to Lagala. Lagala low, just throws it right back to Roy and has her hands up in apology. Opportunity is squandered. Can they capitalize? Roy and Edmonds dink and dunk to midfield. And then here's the shot, opening up deep, looking for Roy, the layout attempt. It was too far.
Well, I'm still happy to see the bid. That one will look delicious on a replay reel. And we're going to get it straight away. There's the error.
And then this one, for Roy, just Lagala threw it right into his path. I just don't know whether she saw him a little bit late. And it was a valiant layout attempt. And it was not far away. But an inch is as good as a mile if you can't get there. Lagala's got the reset to Rossi. Around. Oh, this is going to be popped up a little bit. Not a problem when you've got that stature of Pelican. Kendall Ferreira tries to squeeze in there and get a block. Can't prevent Lagala from getting it, and now she goes up line, receives from Castillo. Lagala just with a little pop off to Kyo. Edmonds tries to get a hand in there, can't do so. Rossi goes for the offhand. Kyo with the second effort grab. All those little games you play on the sideline, they can come in handy. Rossi just temporarily loses his footing a little bit, but he opens up that inside window, creates that opportunity with that slight forward pivot, gets the angle and threads it to Lagala. Another break for Margarita Mix, 3 scores in a row now for 6-4.
When we have enough patrons for an entire team of stats keepers who each are looking at different aspects of the game, I will be really intrigued to, as we get another look at that fabulous bit of cat-like reactions from Kyo. I want to know how many of these scores for Margarita Mix have been those slicey inside breaks. So maybe there needs to be an adjustment from the force, maybe, you know, be a little bit flatter depending on the angle that you're stood at for the end zone. But at the moment, that seems to be where they're able to generate those things, not having to grind themselves to the open side, because it's really hard against the UFA athletes.
So a timeout here on the field, and we'll take a little breather in the booth as well and rejoin you very shortly.
July from Nottingham, England. The World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ultiworld.com.
UFA 4, Margarita Mixed 6 here in the mixed final at EBUCC. You're watching ulti.TV's coverage of the last game of what's been a wonderful weekend. Benji Reese, Hannah Pendlebury, and Jamie Rabbits on the stats as well.
We do appreciate stepping into the booth. We're collecting quite a few new members of the injured media staff, commentator, stats person club.
Hey, we're a broad church, right? Everyone's welcome. We love getting as many people involved as possible. And if you want to be one of those, either in the behind the scenes as Priyan with a kind of expected at this point layout to keep it in bounds, although again there's going to be the little discussion. If you want to be involved behind the camera, behind the mic, or just show a little bit of support, get in contact with us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, on our social medias you can reach out to us or just come up to us in the booth after when we're not live on air, preferably.
Yeah.
Otherwise you might get a frostier reception than the otherwise might. But
I was going to say, we don't bite.
Hard, unless you ask.
Although there is dog in the booth, so.
Indeed. Keeping us safe, security dog Roger. A collie cross of some description.
Floater down the sideline there for Edmonds. And Edmonds with another floater, Priyan utilising her full wingspan there. And she finds Roy to make it 5-6. The timeout then obviously settled the nerves a little bit there for UFA.
Well taken, and they really did need to just punch one in. 3 on the bounce for Margarita Mixed, all that momentum. But I think the curious thing is here, Benji, we've got some sand specialists on Margarita Mixed that can really move well on this surface, but that's not the case for all of them. They are pure athletes, correct, but I think maybe in the late stages, if this one continues to be a grinder, UFA have a bit more legs, a bit more personnel. They are so used to all of them being out here on the beach. I would favour them to make a victorious comeback if they need to.
At the very least, they're going to take it all the way, a battle of 2 undefeated sides. The kind of spectacle that a final deserves. First time we're seeing the Margarita Mixed O-line in a while, although when you're such short-handed, whether you have an O-line or D-line is questionable. Castillo again with that trademark zipped backhand. Volchak just opens it up and floats it out for Lagala. Now Castillo sprints towards the end zone. Lagala gives her the signal, and then the miscommunication on the inside flick.
If I'm being picky, I think Lagala isn't having the best day at the office today. Some of the choices are just maybe nice options, but not the right options.
Again, I don't hate the inside flick. I especially love that little shoulder drop to open up the space. That's one of my preferred moves when I ever do pick up a disc and angle, which is not often, but just did not have the connection there with Castillo. The two of them singing from a different hymn sheet. Ines Bringel. Out wide, too far out in front of Pedro Vargas. Ritzman, I think as soon as she threw it, she knew that she wanted that one back. Rossi picks up. Pedro Vargas on the mark. Rossi throwing deep to Volchak, and it's just easy gas as she watches it all the way into the breadbasket, and Margarita Mixed will take a 7-5 halftime lead.
Yeah, just turning on the jets there. Volchak, who had the breakout season back on the beach in 2019 with the German mixed team out on the sand. Really powerful athlete, not one of these rangy, lanky people we see with the huge stride, just absolutely gunning it towards that deep space, and rightly so. So a commanding lead for Margarita Mixed, 1 point to the better. But of course, UFA will start with the disc coming out on offense into the second half. I think you just got to have a short memory, right, Benji?
Well, I might have to dig into my archives a little bit here, because I remember the first EBUCC a fair few years ago on the sands of Castle de Fels, and I remember calling the women's final with a ridiculous comeback from Seagulls, and I believe that Nikki Priyan and Levka Volchak were both on that side.
Oh, definitely they were.
So they've both tasted gold at this event, albeit in a different division, and now they're playing against each other to try and add another. Margarita Mixed pulling to UFA to begin the second half.
Old chat there, of course, playing for Brute squads in the US seasons for the past 2 years.
Didn't have a bad campaign last year, did she? Just picked up a gold medal at Worlds and, you know, semi-final of US Nationals and German World Games.
Yeah, she was a busy athlete, that's for sure.
Kendall Ferreira. Underneath, will snuck that one past Melvin. Priyan gets the quick offload to Filipa Vargas. Now to Roy. Roy to Edmonds. Priyan takes off. Usually that's the favoured target, but this time Priyan has to come back underneath to get it. Priyan putting a bit of air underneath it. Keogh knows his race is run, and the layout grab at the back of the end zone from Thomas Edmonds makes it 6-7, a clean hold to start the half from UFA.
Well, Nikki Priyan proving to us that she can do the both. Doesn't have to just be on the back end of those receptions into the end zone. She is more than capable of throwing. It's obviously a storied career in the women's division as well as the mixed division. So she's oftentimes asked to be in those central hander positions.
I think what you want to be as a player is you want to be unpredictable, not in the sense of you never quite know what's going to happen, but in the sense of, yes, you know that they can stretch the field, but also you can push them under, you could have them in a handling space, they could initiate, they could reset. Like, wherever you put them, they're going to be good. And it means, how do you match up against that player? Because if you put a good handler defender on them, they're going deep. You put one of those streakier cutters, then you put them in the handler space where they utilize the quick movement. It's a real pick your poison kind of affair as the ball lands out of bounds and Rossi leaves it for Rogers to brick.
Well, we have some remote coaching from Ian French, who of course helped the Irish women's national team to their gold and the Ranelagh club side to theirs in the European stage. He says they've got to lay out for those, Smelvin. Of course, referring to the as close as it gets bid, peeling off of Filipa Vargas and trying to sneak the disc away.
I wonder if seeing their teammate pick up that injury maybe thinks, I'm going to just show that discretion is the better part of valor. Lagala, oh, ripping that inside out backhand to Rossi. That is outrageous.
To quote a Ricky Martin song, she bangs, she bangs. What an inside out backhand. And to get that around the mark as well. Let's watch that one back then, Deep.
Yeah, the mark is just a little bit far off. It's the pump fake of the around that gets them going and creates the space, and the most delectable shape on it leads it right to Rossi down that sideline. I mean, that is a moment of seemingly divine inspiration. A sensational throw from Lagala, notching her first assist of the game.
Indeed, and Lagala, as we've mentioned, will be playing with BFD Shout, becoming one of the key throwing powerhouses for the Italian side on grass that we normally see.
Yeah, but a split loyalties out here. I've seen support for both UFA and for Margarita mixed. I think one of the things actually because they've both got quite a diverse player base, it means that you're getting support from all over the world.
Indeed, and we have loads of people. If you're tuning in from far afield, please do let us know where you're calling in from and enjoying this coverage.
Ferreira to Edmonds. Fakes the flick underneath, now going around to Roy, who adjusts and makes the catch. Vargas takes off deep, and the throw does go from Roy. Oh, what a throw it is as well. Threaded through with the most beautiful feathery flick. And Vargas catches for 7-8. What a dime.
Absolute gorgeous stuff. I'm so excited, Benji. So we've got the World Club Beach Championships coming up next season, the first ever of its kind.
We do indeed.
I'm curious to see where your take is on this. Do you reckon Margarita Mixed will be attending that event as this particular configuration?
Interesting. It'd be after Worlds, wouldn't it? End of the season, October. If they do go, I would say that I wouldn't expect it to be 11 players. I think they might be able to get a few more on board.
Here's hoping.
Not that, as you can see, the 9 they've got out there are doing badly.
No, they are hanging tough. There's an extra full line of personnel for UFA over their opponents. And right now, under the mid-afternoon sun, local time 3:30, they're all hanging tough. They're clearly hydrated after their party antics last night.
Rogers collects the first pass and then underneath to Castillo. Turns, picks out Volchak, motors up the line. Rossi. Across to Volchak. And Volchak finds Castillo. Gets that low release backhand into the center. Rogers just sits it to Lagala to make it 9-7. It's looking very smooth at the moment for Margarita mixed.
Well, the pressure is really not being loaded on correctly for the defense of UFA. I mean, after Rossi collects this one and dishes it forward, casual, because his mark is completely poaching off. I like the idea of playing help defense downfield when you're on the beach, because it's so difficult to stay with your player. It's such an advantage always on offense when you're playing a game of Ultimate, but to just let Rossi be there, super cash, not making him work hard, not threatening, not being on the back shoulder. Right now, if you're behind the game, that's not the energy I'd be coaching.
Right, I think a lot of defense is about kind of economy of movement, being efficient with what you're doing, especially on beach where, as you mentioned, it's energy sapping and it's really easy to get bogged down. So if you can find those little opportunities to flash in, to switch off and get it, just be a bit more efficient with what you're doing, it's a good idea. But when it doesn't work, it can really bite you. Kendall Ferreira playing a 1-2 with Edmonds. Now towards the break side to Roy. Fakes the high release lefty. Looking towards the end zone. Can he find a way through? He can with the scuba. And it is smooth to Prien for 8-9.
Get your flippers, mate. We're going diving. That was a really nice bit of creativity. The wind has dropped once again, barely caressing the flag. So that is a pretty brilliant option. See that just sort of trotting, throwing the player open. Just great vision there from Roy. Yeah,
Prien has that space. It's just a question of how can I find a way to get it there. And the scuba took everyone else out of the picture. And Prien was more than happy to receive it.
And of course, that Arlington man with the throw had his bit of college interruptus because he was studying during the pandemic, but clearly a decorated Frisbee CV across the board. However, there was a recent college men's final in Div 1 in the States where the team that lost did choose defense. So is that going to be the same fate here? I don't think it was cut that had that lesson learned.
Did they lose? You said they lose because they chose defense.
Indeed, they lost on the toss when they had the choice. So maybe that lesson not being learned by the whole community, but we'll see how it pans out. It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Volchak has Keogh in space in the center from his knees. Casual to Rossi. Rossi guns it, looking for Volchak. Can she get there? Oh, it just dropped harshly at the end. Opportunity, though, for UFA to break level.
Well, I would love to see this one go back on serve. Give us a little bit more excitement, because at the moment, Margarita Mixed are being fairly casual, if you can call a dynamic athletic performance casual, but it just feels that way for the level of the players on the pitch.
So what can they do on this break opportunity? Brinjel dumping off to Edmonds, who's crossed over to play some defense. Past the bidding Rossi, is it? No, but a foul, maybe even a strip called. As you can tell, the crowd loves it.
The crowd knows nothing, Benji. They just want excitement.
I mean, no crowd has liked any call ever. Edmonds goes short to Berman. Now they've got a bit more verticality about the offense. Brinjel, oh, I thought that Coelho had stopped, but he's got enough gas to bring it in, and we break to go back level. Coelho with a bit of showmanship to the camera afterwards. 9 apiece.
Well,
exactly what you want to see.
A D-line stalwart, Afonso Coelho, looks for his defensive plays and solid offense after that attempt from Rossi that wasn't quite clean enough to make it good. He's a big old man with a lot of body to keep away. Brinjel, silky backhand. And the backup is there as well from Thomas Edmonds. Just making sure.
Brandishing it above his head and the big old point to camera as well. Hey, why not find a way to get yourself and your teammates fired up? I'm down.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that UFA have been trailing for the past couple of points, but that is leveling us back up. Can they use the momentum, keeping that energy high, that celebration, as you say, Benji, very wise to see. And you know what? I'm just going to stand up and crouch when I have to. This game is getting intense.
To the back of the end zone. Kyo will bring the disc in from the front. Dueling chants in the crowd. So Kyo begins the walk to begin the point. Finds the inside thread through to Melvin. Melvin to Lagala. Dished off to Rogers. Melvin has continued to power her way deep. Rogers didn't quite like it, the look though. Maybe wary of Brinjal in pursuit. Kyo doesn't care. Can he squeeze it down the line to Pelican? Oh, yes he can. And it's 10-9.
Oh, Benji, that was a bit of risky business. I thought they were going to run out of rope there, but Pelican bringing it in. And some patience from Thirdia Rogers. The last time we saw him on a live stream before this tournament, I think we referred to the offense of his team as workmanlike.
Ranelagh Elite invite.
Absolutely. You were trying to find a less sad-sounding word to describe it. And of course, Pelican playing for Foy this season.
He's indeed back in the Czech Republic, and they've had
SB. Sorry, they were. They keep
you
wearing
see
the Foy shirts.
Yes, I know. I'm with you.
Cannot wait till those lads get their kit order sorted.
I assume they're going with the Flamingos as well.
Oh, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
I mean, it would, but that doesn't mean that they won't. That doesn't mean that they'll listen to us.
A big shout out to fellow commentator Rahel Toshnerova, having a great time of life.
Has she popped yet?
I can't reveal the facts, Benji, until it's formally announced, but sending lots of love to her. Cannot wait to get her back into the booth.
Part of another Czech-Irish partnership. That is a very obvious pick. Slap her hands all round. Kendall Ferreira to restart the possession. Might not be able to pick it up on the camera, but she's got some kinesio tape on the neck just to help stretch that out. Edmonds dishes to Roy. Fakes at Filipa Vargas. Ferreira wants it. Rossi does enough on the mark to stop it. Priyan instead. Roy. I think he maybe wants something over the top. Nice switch passed off downfield. They've got the swing available. No! A devilish quick release backhand down that line. Roy threads it to Edmonds for tens.
Well, that's some fantastic assassination defense for the female matching players on Margarita mixed, really making it challenging. They know exactly who UFA are going to use and where, trying to sort of, push the likes of Kendall Ferreira upfield. Of course, a bronze medal athlete with a cannon of an arm, but just having to resort to squeaky business through that tiny channel to Edmonds.
So 10 apiece, of course. Score cap is 13. We've got 5 minutes until the time cap comes on. But the pace at which the game has been played, game to 13, I think, is a fairly likely scenario, maybe. Brinjel is ready to pull. So thus 3 female matching players. Bit of inside-out shape on the backhand that Keogh fields to Ferdia Rogers. Rogers to Melvin. He's got Healy underneath if she wants her, and she does. Healy back to Rogers this time. Very Irish feel to this point. Melvin with a brilliant grab with the right hand. She made look far, far easier than it was. Keogh trying to be aggressive and find something downfield. Healy eventually uncovers. Looking a little bit static down there. Healy trying to find it through to Rogers instead. No, floating it round to Keogh. Keogh back to Rogers. It's a certainly slower paced possession, this one, as Keogh and Rogers just play it between themselves in the backfield for a bit, and then a layout hand block from Pedro Vargas.
Oh, well, Vargas may not have the biggest wingspan, especially going toe-to-toe with Rory Keogh, but he's got his number dialed firmly in.
The UFA fans in the crowd love it. Underneath. Ritzman goes to ground and defender comes over the top. Don't know about that one. Vargas faking the flick. Underneath to Coelho. Now on the far side, Berman centering to Bringel. Melvin comes up to get the force on. Just playing it slowly. Ritzman with her underneath it. Vargas for the bookends. Oh, Rogers got up strong and got a hand on it and knocked it out the back of the end zone. Although there will be a discussion to be had.
Yeah, it looks like a foul call to me. I mean, watching that one in live, there was a lot of bounce on the hand of Ferdia Rogers, so I think that is a fair discussion to be had with Pedro Vargas.
I think usually it's always a fair discussion to be had. It's very rare you see calls that are made clearly in bad faith.
I'm saying nothing, Benji. I have a very short memory. There had been some curious calls, I think, on this tournament, but generally speaking, the spirit and the discussion after them has been pretty good. We get our little shot in shot. Beautiful graphics coming out of the mothership for ulti.TV. The two players will chat about it. There's a lot of vim, as we say, sort of like a going for the dunk. But we're getting a little bit of insight from the verbiage of Sam Murphy saying it's a strip. Big call from Sam Murphy getting involved, saying if it's a strip, there's no strip after using the VAR technology.
Yeah, and it's good of them to take Murphy at his word, because obviously they hadn't seen the footage, so he could have been telling porcupines, but he's a man of honour, is Smurf.
He certainly is, Benji.
So the discussion results in the turnover.
Not exactly what UFA were planning for. Squandered opportunity, but the high stall.
And Volchak, oh my word, Keogh somehow sticks it in front of Coelho, and Rogers jumps it in to make it 11-10. A bit of a harem scarum point, that one for Margarita mix, but they just about got it done.
Oh, Benji, this is just unbelievable scenes. I still can't quite... I understand the reasoning. I know UFA wants to back themselves, to get blocks, get turnovers, generate opportunities, and then, you know, try and be good with them. But they know that during the course of this tournament, they've struggled to be clean with those opportunities. That was not the nicest shot. Obviously, a high stall situation given by the defense, and look at the pressure on both sides of the disc. No more casual. We are properly back in business. But as we have a timeout on the pitch, we're going to take a break in the booth as well. We'll see you for the rest of this game after this.
Don't go anywhere.
the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2024. Whether on the sands or watching the action from your screen, WBUCC 2024 is a tournament not to be missed.
11-10 Margarita mixed lead. Cap will go on at the end of this point, so it will be 12-10 Margarita in a game to 13 or 11-11 in a game to 12. Either way, it is as tight as you like. Benji Reese and Hannah Pendlebury on comms for you, with Jamie Rabbits alongside us, manning the stats. Hello, that's us. Welcome. And we've got the French announce team as well, sitting towards our right-hand side. Anaïs Gouard, who's been doing a wonderful job all weekend, and Lauren Fay, who's joining them for this game. Give them a wave. It's been so nice having the dual language commentary available, even if I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's an extra little challenge for us to try and overcome the noise in the booth, but we are indeed delighted. You know, one day we'll have the budget so we can each have our own separate huts.
I'll tell you what though, when there's a big play that happens and the whole booth just kind of goes up in unison, God, it's so hype, it's amazing.
We've got our own sideline. We're on the hot side of the pitch for sure.
And we've had enough opportunities this weekend to do so. Okay, UFA need to hold here to prevent Margarita just escaping into the distance. Roy, nice gainer to Priyan, looking for the centering pass to Edmonds. Ferreira with a little shake and bake to go up the line. It's a riser that she catches with aplomb. Can she find a way through? No, she's going to go back to Pedro Vargas. I thought he wanted to take the break on to Priyan. Instead, he dishes. And now around to Priyan, continuing to Edmonds, trying to sneak it back to Priyan. Priyan, oh, she just about found a way through to Roy. And we found a way through to Universe. 11-11, next goal wins.
Oh my goodness, Benji. Well, this is do or die situation for their first championship final performance. And is it going to be Heartbreak Hotel because they chose defense to start the game? What? Why? I don't understand. But heck, I mean, it's been quite the grinder. The points up to this point.
I mean, if it works, you look like a genius.
Well, this second half, there's only been a singular opportunity for a break, and that was given by Margarita Mix, so definitely not the game plan enacted of being clean with those opportunities. I take it back, sorry, there's 2 break chances given.
Yeah, one was taken.
Clean. There you go.
One was not. Yeah, don't worry, we got you.
But apart from that, there has been no turnovers this whole second half, just 2 of them.
High quality game. Not that you'd expect anything else. Here we go, the pool for the last point of EBUCC 2023. Rossi catches to Pelican. Pelican to Ferdio Rogers. Rogers now to Volchak, finds Rossi inside. Cutters powering off deep. Rossi, oh, it was a little bit up and down in the air, but Pelican now down the line to Castillo. Volchak, that had to be tempting. Returning to Pelican. Pelican with the continuation of the around break. Can Rogers thread it into Castillo? No. Rossi now. Maybe he can find a way through. Volchak comes out. Players trying to scuttle their way free. UFA refusing to give an inch in the end zone. You can see Vargas just poaching off to gum up that flow. Rogers indicating what he wants. Can he find it? Around to Volchak, back to Rogers in that central position, giving themselves both sides to attack. You can see how far off the force, off the players the force are, just to make sure they're closing every possible throwing avenue. Rossi can't jump it in, just a step outside of a championship. The blade over the top to Pavel Pelican, and it is gold for Margarita Mixed in the mixed division here at EBUCC 2023.
My word, goodness gracious, Benji, we were waiting for a tight final and you bet we got one. Oh, heartbreak for UFA picking defense. We might learn our lessons eventually out here in Ultimate Frisbee, but that was what a game of beach. So clean, so few opportunities gifted, but it was all about Margarita Mix taking charge in the first half. Their 3 points on the bounce to move the score from 4-3 to UFA back to 6-4. Margarita Mixed. Great line management, putting together those connections over the course of the tournament, and they will leave Royan undefeated champions.
They will indeed, and credit to UFA, who pushed them further than anyone else had pushed them this weekend. But in the end, just that extra little bit, that extra clinical edge was quite enough.
And looking at the players who were really on fire for the Irish outfit, plus a couple of extra friends. Tell you what, Carmen Nagala was shooting a bit of an up-and-down game, but key blocks for Healy and Rogers, and of course Sebastian Rossi. 5 assists and 1 goal, cleaning up.
Yeah, our main man, Stef Pazzo, Atlas himself, is going to try and round up a couple of likely candidates as Rogers now signs off the score sheet to officially put that win into the books.
Before we flip our attention to our sideline interview, Benji, we've got to shout out a couple of the athletes from UFA. I mean, the first one that comes to mind, Pedro Vargas, had some amazing defensive stops to really try and grab momentum back. Anyone else you'd absolutely rate?
4 assists and 2 goals for Priyan. Andrew Roy was really influential as well. Though she didn't get on the stat sheet, I thought Kendall Ferreira had a really good game as well. And what do you know? It seems that he has rounded up some of the Irish influences. Stef Pazzo is pitch side with the victorious Margarita Mixed, Ferdia Rogers and Sarah Melvin.
Here I am with 2 members of the championship team, Irish team here. I got Ferdia Rogers, Sarah Melvin. Ferdia, heck of a game there, Universe Point. Talk about your opposition first. What did they do to push you guys right to the brink?
They're incredible all around. I mean, their defense was suffocating. Definitely the most competitive match we've had all weekend. The long game was incredible. They had picture-perfect hooks, played mixed ultimate, used all of their players. And they were really well spirited as well. Yeah, it was an intense game the entire way through, but any calls were communicated respectfully and came to good resolution. So, really enjoyable game.
Excellent work out there. Sarah, talk about your team a little bit. You guys, a bit of a throw-together team representing Ireland. What was it like to win a championship on the sand with this bunch?
I mean, it was great. It seemed like a bit of a throw-together team, but there was at least 6 of us that did play our nationals together. We had an injury or 2, and the pickups we got along the way were pretty sweet. So it's been really fun, and it's always nice to play with such an eclectic group of players, and they're all just amazing. So it's great.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. You guys had a heck of a team, put on a heck of a show. Thank you very much. I'll congratulate you both. Don't go anywhere just yet. One last word to our viewers back at home. Thank you very much. We've made it to 17,000 subscribers. Thanks for your help. Congratulations to these 2. Go celebrate your victory, and thank you very much. Back to you in the booth.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Ferdia, and thanks,
well done. Congratulations.
Well-earned congratulations. Commiserations to UFA, who gave everything they had and came up millimeters, grains of sand short. But hey, for them, it's a landmark achievement for the country, sending a Portuguese team to the finals of a continental competition for the first time. It's got to feel good.
Oh, absolutely, Benji, and they will get an opportunity to dazzle us for seasons to come. I believe there's a partnership that's been brewing for a little while, which means we will get back-to-back European Beach Ultimate Club Championships for many moons to come, and a little fist bump we see fist bumps on the pitch a lot, but fist bumps in the booth for us because we're going to get to cover all this action. But yeah, absolute credit, heroes across the board. But I'd like to give a little player spotlight actually. They didn't have the biggest final, but Brina Healy at the top of the stats board for Margarita Mixed across the tournament. 18 goals and 6 assists, matched only by Sebastian Rossi with 6 goals and 18 assists. So a nice little reflection. But looking at the stats of the game, clean holds, so many clean breaks though. UFA did do what they needed to in terms of their execution of the game plan for future events, but really so tight that margin. Choosing defense, Benji.
I mean, you see it there, 2 breaks, 8 turnovers aside, and actually arguably UFA were often a little cleaner with what they were doing, but Margarita Mixed had the ability to earn it back when they needed to, and 1 point was all it took to see the Irish champions here at EBUCC, and that is it for another tournament. Ulti.TV in the books. We move from the glorious sands of Royan here to the green grass of Amsterdam for Windmill. We'll be there all long weekend. I know we've got a long drive ahead of us up to Northern Europe. So our coverage starts there on Friday, all weekend for you. And I tell you what, I'm so looking forward to it. But I think we've got a bit of pack down to do and a lot of sand to wash away. So a huge thank you for everyone who's tuned in, of course, getting us to 17,000 subscribers. We hugely appreciate seeing Patrick van der Valk, of course, just walk through shot there. It's been a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'd like to extend our thanks to the municipality of Royan, to the wonderful tournament organising staff and volunteers, and of course to Sophia and Patrick and everyone at BULA. It is just such a privilege and such an honour and such a thrill to come and cover these events.
Absolutely, Benji. And extremely well called mixed final. Thank you so much to everybody.
Yeah, it's been absolute pleasure. If you want more Beach Ultimate, then you can watch this back and you can watch the one back in October as well, whenever you want for free on our YouTube channel. And hell, you may have seen the trails for it as well. The first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships next October on the Praia Rocha of Portimao, the 9th to the 14th of October.
So as we leave you, we have a small checklist for you to do. Like, subscribe, share, and what else?
What about becoming a patron?
Be a patron. Patron privileges.
It's just the price of a bottle of drink or whatever, some small measure a month. You can help grow the spread of the game and create more coverage of Ultimate. You can come and watch more wonderful, brilliant games like this one. So that will do it for here. All of us at Ulti.TV. For our tech crew this weekend, Will Foster, Lucia Pekarova, Noah Brinkworth, and Nicholas Ho. For Stef Pazzo and Hannah Pendlebury alongside me, Benji Rees saying thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you on another surface.
July from Nottingham, England, the World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ultiworld.com.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at Ulti.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
The World Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2024. Whether on the sands or watching the action from your screen, WBUCC 2024 is a tournament not to be missed.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ulti.TV.
Get some closure, stay right where you are and don't come closer. If you haven't picked it up, it's over. You wanted her, so just give me what I deserve. So can I get some closure, stay right where you are and don't come closer. If you haven't picked it up, it's over. Run back to her, up, it's over. You wanted her, so just give me what I deserve. So can I get some closure? Stay right where you are, don't go closer. If you haven't picked it up, it's over. Run back to her, 'cause I got what I want, closure. I might be broken down, but I'm smiling. I keep my head up high, though I fail. Sometimes I get a bit emotional, but then I turn around and let it go. I see you watching me from a distance. I see you can't decide what to feel, but if you dig a little deeper, boy, you know you really wanna get to know me. Let's get this out of the way. I can't wait another day to tell you you shouldn't wait. Don't be so afraid. Yeah, I'm a bit too much, but I'm fun and games. When I'm acting tough, I just wanna play. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Come and get it, 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 come and get it. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Jump on my roller coaster and hold tight. It won't be easy, but it'll be fun. Sometimes it goes the whole way up and down. I think you're ready now to leave the ground. Get in the fast lane, babe, you can make it. I promise I'll be there all the way. And if you get a little broken down, all that you gotta do is keep your head high. Let's get this out of the way. I can't wait another day to tell you you shouldn't wait. Don't be so afraid. Yeah, I'm a bit too much, but I'm fun and games. When I'm acting tough, I just wanna play. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Come and get it, 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 come and get it. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, I'm a bit too much, but I'm fun and games. When I'm acting tough, I just wanna play. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Come and get it, 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 come and get it. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours.
You can close, upload, volunteers. Volunteers, junior.
Want your kisses in the morning light. Wanna be next to you every night. No, I shouldn't love you, but I might.
La mairie de Royan.
'Cause your lips, they taste like cherry wine.
Et tout le staff médical.
You're no good for me. We're so
Welcome back to ulti.TV's extra little bit of dishy coverage for you. It's the medal presentation ceremony, as we have all of the wonderful tournament organising staff there in the shot in those fetching blue VC look-fly jerseys. The stash here sold out almost entirely on day number 1, Friday, underneath the thundery conditions. The local municipality Shire. My French is unfortunately not quite good enough to tell you exactly what that gentleman's saying, but I'm sure it's what a wonderful event this was, because it really has been. They said they've been waiting for us to arrive here, and there's been. In fact, hold on. We're in a memento, folks. I'm going to see if Stefan Rapazzo has any intel as to what exactly is being said. I think the French portion is over, so we'll flip back to Sophia. Mrs. BULA herself, the current president of the Beach Ultimate Lovers Association, asking for a drum roll. All right. Their position for the bronze medal match will be, of course, Copenhagen Hux from Denmark. Of course, we saw that game this morning at 9 AM sharp. So if you haven't watched it yet, well, you're watching a medal ceremony, so you've spoiled yourself by choice. But of course, they had a dominating victory over Yaka, who played the bracket very well. You see there, the medals being handed out by the super staff. Everyone wearing their jerseys from playing this morning or having put them back on. Some sun-haddy action from Ellen Jakobsen, a player who doesn't like getting sunburned. We mentioned on the commentary earlier on in the tournament, she actually had a rule when she was looking after, I believe, the under-24 German women's squad, that they all had to put their sunscreen on and avoid the sun. And if anybody was sunburned, they were not permitted to take the field the following day. And you can see the little shimmers of heat. It is very, very warm. And second place, so the bronze medalists hustle together for that photo. It's, of course, everyone's favourite Swedish reigning champions from last year, E6. Although in their SE6 jerseys, which is the combination, of course, when E6 form together with the Swedish male counterparts, they form SE6, which is represented by the seagull on their jerseys. Although it's about a squinting distance from that at the moment. Bit of a contrast to the elephant that's on their shorts. You see the bouncing form of Kiki Eliasson coming off shot, of course pivotal in their semi-final. Well-deserved silver medalists. Many Masters generation players as Hagavit, they're just bouncing around on the shot. But of course the champions, so you get a little replay of that women's final. Lindut laying out Guayota, of course, extremely well-deserved champions of the women's division to match their gold medal in the mixed last outing in Portimao for the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships. Again, these highlights. Hagavit with the overhead hammer. The celebration on that. Sometimes I really do have to say the camera shots that we bring you are just gold. Operators working under the sun, and that's of course the final point, that championship win. In the end, quite that easy one for Paulina Dull. We've of course been running our highlights package, so there's none of the moments of Guayota receiving their medals, but that celebration at the end, just piling on the new Polish star on this Guayotan team. But there they are with the medals all around their necks and the very heavily scented discs, these wooden trophies. We've got a nice picture of them on our Instagram. So, looks like we'll be announcing the mixed champions next. The big cuddles all around, especially between our two Polish teammates there on the women's podium. That's Paulina Dull and Radzina Chlebicka. And of course now moving to the mixed division, the Ukrainians. Oh, there we go. I'm not sure if our cameras picked it up when they celebrated their bronze medal win, but that is of course the flipping form of the number 99 for Ukrainian mixed team. Nikolayenko. had herself a pretty handy final. We're showing a bit of highlights from the mixed final there for your delectation. But yeah, obviously such a fabulous representation of the Ukrainian nation here on the fields in Royan. And fun facts for you, because of the amount of shellfish I would imagine present out here on this west coast of France, just north of Bordeaux, it's glittery sand underfoot to match these shiny medals. If you catch the, you know, if you're a little bit maybe warm and sweaty from playing, some laying out, the dust that collects itself onto your body has a nice glisten to it when it catches in the sun. So now UFA being announced as silver medalists by a hair. Such great performances. Some really high pressure defense played by both teams. That scuba over the top from our highlight package from Roy to Priyan. A high stall situation, but I'll tell you what, when he has his back against the wall, Roy really does deliver some fantastic instinctual moves. Just seeing them there getting some hand slaps from the organisation. A little tilt down as Patrick van der Valk hangs the medal around the head of Alfonso Coelho. Of course, Sophia and Patrick both reside in the Algarve. They don't appear on the UFA roster very often, though. They usually let the youngsters take the burden there. But Margarita Mix now, your mixed division champions, will shortly be receiving their medals. They've had their round of applause as they trot their stuff towards the desk. So yes, all of the Spirit of the Game and Championship trophies, these wooden discs, are quite scented. The volunteers said that they've been looking after those trophies in their apartment for the past week or so, trying to get them to dry out and be a little bit less intense, because when you have all 6 of them together in the open air, it's quite the scent. Not bad, just a bit overpowering. But a short roster. The gala being directed forward as they all assemble. Irish talent gets on first. Rogers, Melvin, Healy. And the last medal around the neck. Is Sam Murphy going to make it onto? There he is. Bless his soul, that broken collarbone. Big loss for Ireland at EBUCC. But Spirit of the Game, that's got to be GTV Gleisdorf. By the looks of those kits. A wonderfully spirited event. A couple of lower scores than we'd expect here and there, but generally pretty high. Sheila Quintos there, one of the fabulous staff helping run smooth scenes at the tournament.
I mixed up the order, but oh well. Now we're going to do open.
So Sophia getting excited, wanting to announce the mixed division results before open. Apologises for flipping of the order. Of course, the original order of the games with the rhythm of the tournament could have been women's mixed and then open to finish us off. But of course, the jewel in the crown being that Margarita mixed final. As you see them celebrating deservedly under the sun. Pat, I don't think we've mentioned at any point just how hot it is in Royan. So let's get a temp check for you. Current weather 26 degrees, but feels like 28, according to everyone's favourite search engine. And of course, Sam Murphy being lifted up as Mama Margarita, the chant that came from the sidelines. Very little love coming from the stands for UFA in terms of verbal support, but plenty for the super happy mixed team. We will be getting a shot at the end of the podium ceremony of all of the winners, the podium finishers, and the spirit of the game. But finally, last but by no means least, we've got the local representative to hand out the medals for the Opens division. From the Comité of Flying Disc, to give them their formal name, the local organising committee, Comité Flying Disc 17. So Bordeaux trotting over as we see the highlights from their bronze medal match. Oh, that greatest. Bit of behind the scenes action for you. We had from one of our camera ops who's been keeping his beady eye on the stream here in Royan and giving us some support from afar. He says, I believe it was Felix, says that you miss a greatest, by following and keeping the camera on the person that threw it only once, and you learn from your error and you never make the mistake again. But certainly fantastically curious scenes. That's the winning score for Bordeaux as they pitch invaded, and well deservedly so. A team on the rise, present on the grass in the second division final at Tom's Tourney earlier this season. So look out for the folks from Bordeaux. Their women's team caused some upsets in their division but didn't manage to escape through. But the Open team out here looking very good indeed. So a couple more of their highlights from the game. The final for the Open division, Magic Disc with a respectable performance, but the pressure that was applied for Goyota just proved a little bit too much. They had a spills and spills semi-final against their fellow Frenchmen that had lots of local eyeballs on it this morning. It's been a long day at the office for the Open division comparative to all of the other athletes out here in Royan, of course playing 2 games today. But Goyota now announced. We get another look at that championship clinching point. The Goyota players now have 2 divisions worth of medals each. Of course, doing the double here. Commiserations. Look at the spirit there on Oscar Betancourt, just going and tapping on the head, because of course wasn't the cleanest of performances. A very strange one, of course, that error in that final match point. But the Spirit winners looks to be 33 tours. Oh no, Disc Hit Berlin. I can't read shorts from this distance. Disc Hit Berlin. Oh yes, there we go. So that's coming across and nixing the German championships, which is the same weekend as this one, which is why we're not flushed with German teams here in the beach division. So disc kick players deciding they'd rather be on the sand in Royan than back home clinching national titles in Germany. But of course Goyota, whose flight was heavily delayed getting into Bordeaux, coming through and resting themselves to clearly quite the commanding performance. So that is your Open division podium. A talented bunch of athletes across the board. And Sophia, president of BULA, thanking all of the athletes for coming out and giving us this display on the sand, of course. Much like in Spirit of the Game, where you have to be cognizant that if your opponents didn't show up, it would just be you and a couple of other pals throwing a disc in a park on a beach somewhere. First, thanks, of course, for the organisers and the local municipality in Royan. So So the committee Flying Disc 17 will now enter the fold. Raphael and Thomas. Personal big shout out to Gerard, one of the minibus drivers who indeed picked up that delayed bunch of Goyota players and drove back in the dead of the night through the lightning storms on Thursday evening / Friday morning. So the other lifeblood of any European Beach Championships. Now we move over to the volunteers, the real heroes out here giving up their time. They do get hosted, they do get accommodation, and they do get to watch some fabulous ultimate and get themselves some fetching pink shirts that say wonderful volunteer. But yes, these tournaments would not run, because I'm sure in the years to come we'll get many more. So awesome volunteers, there you go. That's what's on the backs of their shirts, sorry. But in the years to come, maybe we'll get more big corporate sponsors. I'm sure they won't impact the way these events are run. But at the moment, it's those hard-working community folks who allow us to have these amazing events. The staff take their place next to the municipality representatives.
Laura, let's keep going. Jan, I've seen him work so hard.
So Jan getting a round of applause. You see Bruno there in the background in his staff shirt. He is the man behind the website for the live.ebucc.eu coverage. We must tip our caps to him, because that's how we get all of our information as to what the results flooding in from other pitches are. And you would be surprised, unless you're a developer yourself, to know how many strange things happen. But Eurodisc, Thomas there. We get our own shout out. I can hear Will Foster going, best in the world, baby. Because, well, I mean, he said it. Did see it working the camera ops. It's now going to be hello. I hope you're enjoying this low-key version of my voice as we do this closing ceremony. Lucy dashing around in some fantastic Star Wars shorts. Love her style. Rocking, of course, our Full Force ulti.TV shirts. So that leaves us to say thank you, everybody, all of our finalists, all of the organisers. Sophia didn't thank herself, so thank you, President of BULA, the Beach Ultimate Lovers Association. We love to have these events with you. I don't think we're going to get the shot of all of the medalists together. I think we're probably going to close it out. What do you think, Lucy? So that will be it. We've heard it from the woman herself, Lucia Pekarakova says that's enough as we fade out to
July from Nottingham, England, the World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ultiworld.com.
Thanks.
Yeah, Ultimate.
It's the